You are listening to the WRKC Halloween Spooktacular.
This is So You Think You Can Anchor. Not all contestants will make it out alive. The one that does will host the WRKC News at 5. I'm your host, Brian Fearcrest. Let's hear about what our judges have to say. Let's meet Paula Abgul.
Whoops.
Now shield your eyes and welcome Simon Scowell. He's dead on the inside and the outside. He might look green, but not from envy. It's because he's a zombie.
I was raised from beyond the grave for this.
Now meet our third judge. He may be the most second famous orange glowing fiery object in America. I'm talking about Randy Jack-O-Lantern.
Word.
Let's meet our first contestant, who will talk about a story you can really sink your teeth into. Ben Vampiro.
Good evening. My attitude toward this audition is like my feeling about my favorite blood type. Be positive. I remember Halloween when I first became a vampire. It was fantastic. Arr.
You suck, Ben!
I know, but not yet. First, we'll take a tour around my favorite place in town, a cemetery. Maybe we can visit Brian Fearcrest's career while we're there.
Halloween is known in many places as the Day of the Dead, as Christians around the world are set to mourn the people they've lost over the past year. Maddie Lewis, a senior at Holy Redeemer High School, found a way to sponsor a tour of the Hollenbach Cemetery in Wilkes-Barre this past Sunday, where many 19th century politicians centered around Wilkes-Barre, like lawyers, judges, congressmen, and others, are buried, such as Florence Foster Jenkins, the subject of a 2016 Meryl Streep Academy Award-nominated movie. Lewis said the tour is intended for her goal to have an historic marker for the late entertainer as part of her Gold Award project for Girl Scouts, and also said she serves as a role model for her.
As she would want, she was still very confident in herself and very confident in her ability to excite an audience, and she really was an example for women to go out and do what they want, whether that be singing or whether that be anything, and career-wise, she was really an example for all women to be confident.
Along the tour narrated by Maddie's father, Bill Lewis, were spooky stories about the dead, as the crowd of about 6 dozen travelers encountered the mausoleum of Louise Dana Killer, who died in 1926. However, a trespasser named Bone Daddy stole her skull in 2010. Bill told the tourists about Bone Daddy's visit to the cemetery while the convicted criminal was in high school, approximately 30 years ago, fitting for a tour just 3 days before Halloween.
He was in high school years before. The principal called him down to the office. The Wilkes-Barre police were there, and they said, open your backpack. So, what do you keep in a backpack? Your lunch. Everybody keeps lunch in a backpack. Your school books, right? And human bones, right? You all put human bones in your backpack when you go to school? Well, Bone Daddy did. But he actually, when the police got him, he admitted he took Mrs. Kidder's skull, but when he thought the police were going to find him, he threw it into the river.
And fitting for horrors, Bill also tells a karma story about George Washington Woodward, a 19th century politician with a deep hatred towards Republican President Abraham Lincoln before and during the Civil War. But in 1878, 3 years after he was buried in the Hollenbach Cemetery, the political party he hated was front and center in front of his grave.
The final insult is in 1878 when President Rutherford B. Hayes came to Wilkes-Barre for the 100th anniversary of the Battle of Wyoming and stayed for about 3 or 4 days. The family carriage that Judge Woodward had used was hauling Rutherford B. Hayes, the Republican President of the United States, around. So by that point, he was long gone. For 4 years, he was probably flipping in his grave, which may mean why these stairs are collapsing here.
Maddie has gone into the history books a lot during her studies in both grammar school and at Holy Redeemer. She is part of history groups at school, but she also said that the love of learning history and about people that are not around anymore isn't realized until after it's time to digest all the information.
You don't realize how much history is in this area until you're exposed to it, and I think that's greatly important, especially for the youth to be exposed to history and the importance of history. Because if you don't know about history, then it's more likely to repeat itself. So.
The family says they're hoping an historic marker for Florence Foster Jenkins would be dedicated by next summer, after Maddie graduates from high school in May. They also said they will extend invitations to celebrities like Meryl Streep, who was nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role for Florence Foster Jenkins at the Academy Awards 2 years ago. After that, she would receive the Gold Award, the highest honor a Girl Scout could achieve. For the WRKC News at 5, So You Think You Can Anchor, I'm Leonard Skinnard.
Well, Ben, how do you think your performance went on So You Think You Can Anchor?
Excellent.
Well, your jokes were weak, but the delivery was on point. I think we can all agree you'll continue in this competition.
Word.
Coming up next, prepare for a bone-chilling story right from beyond the grave with our next contestant.
Are you sick of running into the woods every time you need a feather, frog, or feline for a spell? At Scary Sherry's Spooky Shack, we have everything for the season of the witch. Frogs and toads, troll boogers, dead man's toes, toxic sludge. Whatever you need, we got it. Fly on by to Scary Sherry's Spooky Shack today. With your purchase of 10 vats of toxic sludge, we'll throw in a free cantation training session.
Welcome back to So You Think You Can Anchor. Let's meet our next contestant. Try to keep your blood-curdling screams down because she likes it. Straight from the walls of Fox News, here's Ann Poltergeist.
Hello, boys and ghouls. Hold your booze. This isn't fake news.
Too late. Ugh.
Just wait until you get home. I've repainted your kitchen. I hope you like red. Up next is a story about the chemistry department's mad science experiment.
What's the magic word? 1, 2, 3.
And that is just one of the freakish sounds of things that go boom in the night. One of the most anticipated events in King's College Chemistry Department offers every year. At last night's scientific extravaganza, many curious children were screaming and sighing with awe as chemistry students and professors performed many experiments centered around Halloween in front of a packed Burke auditorium. In its 22nd year, professors and prospective science students appeared to go above and beyond what they have done before, said science chemistry student Allie Wylam.
I'm really excited to see the kids' faces when we do some of the really cool stuff like the hydrogen balloons and the flaming pumpkin at the end. It's one of my favorite things is their faces.
The experiments lived up to the hype. One of them, Dr. Julie Bellinger, created elephant toothpaste using some special chemicals.
Add my secret ingredients, okay? Called potassium iodide. Nice scoop here. Wash carefully to make lots of toothpaste.
Look at that!
What struck the crowd was that people had different favorite parts of the show. For example, Rebecca Medill liked the bed of nails experiment the most.
My favorite part of the show is the bed of nails because I love how the audience gets so involved and they're yelling, don't do it, and everybody's very excited when the sledgehammer comes down and breaks the concrete.
In the spirit of things going boom, pyrotechnic Lori caught the eye of Cammie Crane, where she liked the spirit of scientific harmony in the air.
My favorite part of the show was the fireworks because it just looked so cool when the lights went out and you could see all the different colors.
But from an education standpoint, and given a time where more and more knowledge of science exists today, Brandon Collins, who attended the event with his son, stressed how opportunistic it was for his son to learn about science.
So as a parent, one of the things I love about this show is it gets kids excited about science. Lots of flash, lots of boom, lots of good stuff to get kids really, really motivated and really, really excited about science.
In the spirit of science, the school's chemists just wanted to showcase their love of learning chemistry through experiments like they were kids amazed at their magic tricks. For WRKC's So You Think You Can Anchor, I'm just the best.
I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it, so it's a no for me.
If I had arms, man, I'd clap for this story.
It's gonna be a yes for me, dog.
It's an easy no from me.
Things are heating up here at WRKC. When we return, we'll hear why sports fanatics are bigger freaks than us monsters.
Here at Dr. Grimsaw's Skeleton Warehouse, there isn't a skeleton we can't keep in the closet. Right or left, doesn't matter. We are fine with both sides. We're not here to judge. Whether you have a campaign trail or need a promotion at work, we cover the dirt so you don't get buried in it. So come on down, or call us at 570-666-1234.
Welcome back to So You Think You Can Anchor. Up next is a very chilling contestant, Anderson Spooker.
Monsters and people alike are fans of sports around the world, and many of these fans perform spooky rituals of some sort to push their team towards victory any way they can. Junior rugby team captain Josh Williams knows firsthand how big of an impact these superstitious routines can have on all types of sports teams.
I think these rituals, they make a difference, especially when you wear a shirt. Since I'm an Eagles fan, I wear an Eagles shirt to the games that they play during the season. Those 2 games they won. The following game, I don't wear that shirt and they lose, and then you start to think and rethink all the processes of superstitions and how that works.
The rugby captain does not even eat at some of his favorite restaurants anymore out of fear of causing his favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, some misfortune. Josh does everything in his power to push his team to get the win, even if that means paying attention to the smallest detail.
So for a sport I've watched has to be most recent with the Eagles, and every time I catch myself watching the end of the Eagles game and them losing at the very last second, I'm at the Chinese buffet. So definitely going to stop going to the Chinese buffet for Eagles games.
Junior wide receiver for the Kings College football team, Devin Ringler, also believes he can impact the result of the Boston Celtics games simply by just choosing to watch. Ringler must also have some spooky powers behind this superstition.
My favorite NBA team is the Boston Celtics, and throughout the regular season, I cannot watch a single game. I feel like every game I watch, they always lose, and in my mind, I fear, because of me, they're in danger of missing the playoffs. So I cannot watch a single game until they get to the postseason. So basically, I watch any other NBA game I can, except for my favorite team, until May, when the postseason finally hits, and then I turn into a true fan. So basically, I'm just a Wizards fan throughout the whole year. Once postseason hits, I can finally go back to watching my Boston Celtics. But if I watch the Boston Celtics during regular season, there's a good chance they might not make the playoffs because they lose every time I watch
The
them.
Monarch receiver also does his best to look the part on game day as well, adding to his performance the flashier he runs out onto the field.
So probably the biggest superstition with me is about swag. I have to have a certain look to me every game, and it's consistent. And I have to have white on white. So it has to be white cleats and white leggings, or I just don't feel like I'm going to be very good at that game.
Even Williams is particular about the way he looks on match day, always wearing a sports-specific pair of leggings to help him score that much more.
Oh yeah, for sure. The compression shorts and the leggings, they get my fast twitch muscles going for them short bursts and gets my speed up there.
Both athletes can wholeheartedly agree that professional athletes at the highest level are some of the most superstitious people on the planet, even among monsters. And Josh Williams says it best by explaining these people are expected to perform week in and week out on top of the competition.
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody is superstitious in a way, even if they try not to be. And professional athletes, they find themselves at the highest level. So if they are competing at the highest level, the best way is to keep doing what they're doing and being superstitious.
Athletes, fans, and monsters alike can be superstitious about the smallest details of their lives, whether they live for 10,000 years or just 100 years. And for the WRKC Halloween Spooktacular, I'm Chris Wallenberg.
Let's start with Simon Scowl. Simon?
Very compelling story. If my ears weren't already decomposed, I'd want to hear more. I'll give it a yes.
Randy Jack-o'-lantern?
Yo, dog, you got skills. I'm gonna say yes.
Looks like Anderson Spooker will be serious competition when we return.
Spooky season won't end after October 31st if you ghost the polls this November 6th. Your lack of political effort may haunt you in the future. Don't be a witch about it, just hop on your broomstick and vote next Tuesday. Registering isn't a trick, and voting isn't a treat. It's your constitutional right. The jack-o'-lantern can wait. Take a break from the carving to carve your opinion about the issues. Don't let democracy go to the grave. Vote next Tuesday, November 6th, for a spooky good candidate.
sponsored by the Black Cat Spooky Pack for young voters.
Next up is a monster that was banished from his hometown for causing riots. Let's hope our live studio audience doesn't have a similar reaction. Here's Frankenstein.
This Halloween season, Starbucks is offering the traditional pumpkin spice latte. Signature espresso and milk are highlighted by flavor notes of pumpkin, cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove to create this incredible beverage that's a fall favorite. Enjoy it topped with whipped cream and real pumpkin pie spices, as well as the Witch's Brew Frappuccino, orange cream flavor drink, dotted with imaginary batworts and lizard scales in the form of green-colored chia seeds. First up, Kendall Wright gave the PSL a try.
I think it's very good. I'm really not one for flavored coffee, but I think I would get this often.
Next, Jonathan Shaw tried out the classic PSL.
It's moderately sweet, like it's not overly sweet, but it doesn't taste bad. It just tastes like regular coffee. I don't really taste a lot of pumpkin.
John does not think the fall beverage lives up to the hype.
It's not very pumpkin-y, like it doesn't have a lot of pumpkin in it, and it just tastes like coffee.
The Witch's Brew may look scary, but it is sweet.
It's super sweet. It tastes like Fruity Pebbles / Trix cereal / Trix yogurt in a drink. It's spooktacular.
The sweetness brings back some childhood memories for King's Abbey Castle.
It tastes like something from my childhood. It's kind of sour. Probably wouldn't recommend.
Alyssa Mosher tells us what she thinks of the spooky Witch's Brew.
I thought it was too sweet for my liking. It kind of tastes like an orange creamsicle. It was very smooth in texture, and I think the color throws me off too, because I don't like purple foods.
Kelsey Snyder also gave the potion a try.
I just drank the Witch's Brew, and it tastes like Fruity Pebbles with the aftertaste is a little nasty. Not my favorite. I don't think I'll be getting the Witch's Brew again.
Lastly, John Shaw gives us his final thoughts on the spooky Starbucks Witch's Brew with cream syrup, orange flavor, and chia seeds.
It has a weird texture. Like it tastes like the watermelon roll that you buy from Walmart or Friendly's. Like it tastes like that, like the watermelon ice cream roll. It kind of seems like it's just made for Instagramming your coffee. It doesn't actually taste good.
For the WRKC Spooktacular, auditioning for Booze Director, I'm Scarlett Spaker.
Frankenstein, is it? May I call you Frank? Listen, Frank, that was without a doubt the worst thing I have ever heard in my life. The story was great, but your mumbling just doesn't make the cut. Honestly, you would be better off staying out of showbiz. Needless to say, it's a no from me.
That is some harsh criticism. Randy Jack-o'-lantern?
It's gonna be a no for me, dog.
You know what? You came out here and did the best you can, but it wasn't that great. No, sweetie.
Looks like Frankenstein will be moaning and groaning all the way back to his village. Find out who will be WRKC's next news anchor when we return from these messages from our ghoulish sponsors.
I'm Dr. Rudolf von Schnitzel. I have a degree in necrology from the cyber campus of Bates Tech. A restraining order kept me off the main property. I am the CEO, founder, president, chief scientist, and self-proclaimed leading authority and guru of Dr. von Schnitzel's Institute of Reanimated Presidents. Have you ever thought or said to yourself, why can't I live during the time of Abraham Lincoln? Well, now you can, thanks to my historical reanimation abilities in a 3-credit online crash course in political science. Let's meet Reanimated Lincoln.
Ugh, my head. Was my greatest achievement really Lincoln Logs?
And here's Teddy Roosevelt.
Why did they cast Robin Williams to play me in Night in the Museum? I don't see it.
And how about Richard Nixon?
Wow, people actually want me back now.
And how about everyone's most requested reanimated president, Ronald Reagan?
Wait, America elected another entertainer after me?
Don't believe me? Just listen to my good friend. Honestly, these dead presidents greatly accomplished things, but I've accomplished the biggest, greatest, grandest, and most wonderfulest accomplishments that our great country has ever seen. Dr. von Schnitzel may have reanimated the dead, but does he have billions and billions of Twitter followers? So come on down to Dr. von Schnitzel's Institute of Reanimated Dead Presidents. located right next to the Monster Mash Dance Studio and the Candy Corn Bistro, but that place won't make it till next Halloween.
This is Al Croker reporting your weather. Will the weather be a trick or a treat? Find out on today's forecast. Tonight is going to be a horrid night with a torrential downpour. A swarm of locusts passing through your city at midnight. The sound will be unbearable and maybe cause permanent hearing loss. You've been warned. Continuing the torrential downpours through the morning, there will be a blood-boiling change to 61 degrees. That'll make your skin peel in the final hours of the day. Maybe that will warm up Simon Scowl's cold, dead heart. On Friday, the third day of the everlasting downpour, the streets will flood, destroying homes and everything else in its path. A sweltering 69 degrees will amplify the decaying odor of local cemeteries. You'll probably want to keep the kiddies inside from playing that day. I'm Al Croker. Have a revolting night.
We're back on So You Think You Can Anchor. Our finalists have clawed their way to the top, casted some mischievous spells, and sucked the blood of their fiercest competition. Our final contestants are Ben Vampiro and Anderson Spooker. Now, judges, the choice is up to you. Who is WRKC's next news anchor?
Quite frankly, I think I should be anchor. I deserve it more than these undead doorknobs.
You know, if any of us is going to be the anchor, it should be me.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the audience wants to hear a floating pumpkin deliver their news.
Yo, that cut deep, man. That cut deep.
Deeper than the knife used to carve your fake smile.
Ow! What in the blimey heck is going on here?
Stop hitting me!
Never!
Why?
Because
Can't we settle this over a pint?
My eye!
My spleen!
And on that note, we'll see you next week for more of So You Think You Can Anchor.
So, this ends this and all other episodes of So You Think You Can Anchor because everybody's dead. Now back to regular programming on WRKC.